She's this wonderful lady. She was a refugee, 1994, 95. She went to Turkey and then came to Canada. And she's done so much. She's exceeded beyond her boundaries or borders, all beliefs. And she has brought so many people together and done so many wonderful things in this country. Everybody, Lozan Yamolky.
Well, it's such an honor to be here, and all of you make me so happy, and many of you couldn't come today. Don't worry, you're here, you're in my heart, you're here in spirit, I know you're here. Thank you very much. When my dear uncle Siran, who you see your picture here in the cover, told me, Lozan, when are you going to publish your poetry book? I said, Uncle, only old people publish books. I'm only 42. And Uncle said, you could be 8 years old and you can publish. Your poetry need to be out. And he said, I'm not leaving you, so I want your book on my lap. When are you going to do that? So I'm only doing it for my uncle. Thank you so much, Uncle. You're wonderful. Those of you who got my book, you know my stories. I was about 12 or 13 years old. And I was, if I think correctly, it was in Baghdad. I think I was 14. Now I'm close. It was preteen, teenager. Some classmates grabbed some of my notes of a poetry in it. A poem was writing how sad I was because they made fun of my growing female body. They made fun of my curly hair. When I wore sandals, they made fun of my toes. One of my toes sticks out. So I was writing a very sad poem, and they read it out loud for all to laugh at. So by the time I ripped it out of their hand, ran home and crying, Uncle saw me, and he came to the house, he saw me, what's going on? So he hugged me, embraced me, and what's going on? I was like, Uncle, I'm writing, and then he laughing at me. Maybe I should stop writing, they have nothing to laugh about, or to laugh at. And Uncle said, can I read what you wrote here? And of course I was hesitant, like, no. Uncle said, let me read it. You read it for me. He says, you read it for me. And I read it with tears in my eyes, I was gasping for air. And he said, wow, dear, wow, Lozan. He said, don't stop writing. And he said, if you're afraid of anybody finding your poetry, hide it in my house. You know, nobody comes into my room. We have a music room, poet room, and nobody was allowed in there. Nobody dared. So it was like a sacred room in the house. And he said, bring it to my house. And years later, here I am. I started writing, thanks to Helen and how you're a poet. I just totally by accident bumped into it on a Facebook like announcement, and I started writing, reciting, writing new one. And then I told Uncle, with all encouragement, you're my hero. And he said, I'm no hero, dear, I'm just a poet. That's a little story about the title of the book.